you ever wanted to see a snapshot of the overall condition of your facility with also being able to have a plan of how to move forward? Well, I'm Dustin Kirby with Foundational Facility Management Consulting, and I'd like to tell you today your step that you're looking for is getting what's called an FCA on your building. That stands for Facility Condition Assessment. What a facility condition assessment does is it tells you the condition of the assets in your building, therefore telling you the condition of your building as well. What I love about it is it's really practical for a lot of different areas. So you might be on the business side of your church, you might be the facility manager, wherever you are, you both still want to know the condition of your building and its assets. What this does is this allows you to plan for life cycle replacement. What that means is each of our assets, let's say an air condenser, each asset has an expected life cycle. Whether that's 15 to 20 years maybe for an air condenser, or for a roof, an asphalt roof, you might have 20 to 30 years depending on where you're at and what type of roofing. But what I'm saying is if you don't know any of that information and you don't know when that asset was either installed or manufactured, you can't plan for your budget down the road. If you do know this stuff and you know when your assets are expected to expire or come to the end of their useful life and you will need to replace them, you can start to budget accordingly so it's not a surprise. That's one of the things in facilities that drive me the craziest is surprises. Yes, they'll still happen no matter how much planning that you actually do, but you can drastically reduce the amount of surprises with the proper planning. So like I said, if I know in my facility in 5 years, I've got 3 assets that should be near or at the end of their life cycle, I can start planning to replace those. Some assets with the proper care will actually outlive their expected life cycle. Some will actually reach the end of their life cycle before the average. That's just how it works, but we do have industry-wide numbers. But in addition, an FCA gives you a list of all of your building assets. So you'll have your air handlers, your air condensers, your roof, all of your building assets, as well as the applicable make and model, the year of manufacture, or as in like a case of a roof, the year of install. Sometimes, or a lot of times, honestly, we don't have those exact numbers in churches. You might have had a change in leadership. Maybe those specific notes weren't kept, and you have an idea that the roof was installed around 2015, but you're not sure of the exact year. In those cases, we work with you and we still make you use that 2015 year for planning purposes. At least we're close. We want to narrow everything down as much as possible, but oftentimes all of the documentation and historical data is not available. This is one of the things going forward that an FCA does allow you to do is it's putting you, it's the first step in creating that plan so you start to keep that historical data so that down the road, hey, when an asset added to your building, I am going to put it into our inventory list of assets that we got from our FCA. Boom, I put it in, I put the make and model, the asset, and the year that it was either installed or manufactured. So then I can add in the expected life cycle. So going forward, you're continuing what your FCA started in the first place. This is the first place that you start for a preventive maintenance plan. This is the first place you start if you're looking at your building with an eye towards what condition is this in, as far as do I need to replace the building? In some circumstances, the building might have outlived the building itself, its useful life, for a number of different reasons. Maintenance wise, it might cost more than it's worth to put the money into it to get it to the condition you need, versus building a new building. Or your church might have outgrown the use of that current building, whether it's the size, whether it's the architecture of how it's built and how it can serve your congregation, or it might be blocking you restructuring your campus and you need to place a building somewhere else. So there's many reasons that you might want to know, hey, what money would I have to put into this building to get it up to the standards versus is this worth being replaced? So this kind of data, it'll give you the deficiencies that you have in your building. So we always break that down into like 3 tiers of deficiencies. Tier 1 are immediate concern items, stuff like that is a safety issue, or it's a deficiency that is going to cause damage to other parts of your facility. For example, a roof. Um, if you've got a bad roof, not only is your roof leaking, it's damaging whatever's under that roof. So that would be a tier 1 deficiency. Tier 2 deficiencies obviously are not as bad as tier 1, but they're things that we would suggest you replacing or looking at replacing in the future. Tier 3 usually are more cosmetic items. Maybe you've got peeling paint or you've got damaged floorboards, and this would be a good idea to replace this in the future. Maybe it's ductwork that's still visibly looking good, but hey, I can tell you from an expected life cycle replacement model that this ductwork is going to have to be either replaced soon or maybe it's already past its life cycle. So we put it on there. It's still doing well, so you don't have to replace it right now, but it's something you're going to want to watch in the future. So, like I said, an FCA hits so many points, lets you make that decision on what to do with your current building. It tells you the condition of your current building, tells you what assets are past their life cycle and when all of your assets will be expected to come to an end of their useful life. It tells you your deficiencies, so we can tier them out so you know how to attack this. Hey, we might not be able to do everything right away, but these tier 1s are the ones we need to focus on immediately. It gives you a complete list of your building assets. So then you can work with us, you can work with someone else. Sometimes you might have someone on your team that can create from there, but you can start your preventive maintenance plan because you know what assets you have. So your recurring preventive maintenance plan is built around your particular assets. So that's a great start for it. So this is such a great planning tool. I encourage everyone, even if you've had it done in the past, you should have an FCA done at least every 5 years. Some of you might have someone internally that can perform an FCA. What an FCA is, or how it is done, is a professional will come in, go through your entire building. Beforehand, they'll want as much documentation as you had. As I said previously, you might not have a lot of historical data, but the more you have, the better. So beforehand, floor plans, any as-built construction documents, any other construction documents, and if you have historical maintenance history, that is so helpful. A lot of churches don't have what's called a CMMS, which is a computerized maintenance management system, so that their assets are on there and their work orders pop up recurringly so that you have a preventive maintenance plan. But some do. Some might use a task management system where they put that in themselves. Some might just have a spreadsheet where they keep track of when things are going to need to be done. You're all different. You have to work with the resources that you currently have with the goal of continuous improvement. So we can help you if you don't have any of those systems, get it going. But as I said, a lot of people don't have the historical maintenance data to provide. But anyway, what happens before an FCA is we go through all of that data. We plan out how we're going to go through the building. And if we have a list of assets, that helps us start plugging it into the model. As we go through the building, We're documenting in each room as we go through, and some areas as a whole, such as your roof. We're going to look from the top to the bottom of the building, trying to capture all of your building assets so we can have those in one place for you, so we can present those to you at the end. And we're looking at the overall condition of your building and the assets. So we're taking photos, we're taking video, we're taking notes. Depending on how large your campus is or your building, it might be a multi-day facility condition assessment. At the end, when you get this report, because once we go back, we have to put all of this stuff into the report. But when you get that report, it's going to tell you the current condition of your building. It's also going to tell you the condition, which we use our own customized asset condition model. It will tell you the current condition of each of the assets. So you know, hey, this one's in great shape, this one's in poor shape. It can help you make the decisions. We also, as I had said before, will have the deficiencies listed. So you can see tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. We also put the industry cost to either repair those deficiencies or replace assets that are going to need to be replaced now or in the next 10 years. Usually we go off a 10-year model. We have worked with clients before where they needed us to extend that out. The further you go out from 10 years, the less accurate the numbers are going to be. But some people need that to be pushed out even further than the 10-year mark. But you're going to get all of that as well as professional recommendations. So an FCA is a large undertaking, should be done with a professional in mind. Now, you can also invite particular trades professionals in as well while you're doing an FCA. For example, you could have a certified plumber come in while you're doing the FCA and look at the plumbing. You could do that with each different trade. That's obviously a lot more costly because what a normal FCA includes is the professional, like a certified facility manager, someone with a lot of experience will go through and they're going to use the history of the asset as well as the current visual / sound assessment. And what that does is that gives you a pretty accurate overview of those assets and your building. Like I said, you can go to that next step and bring in the tradesperson for each different trade, and that is okay to do. Like I said, that's very costly. Sometimes on the front end, it's not as beneficial because if you go through the regular FCA first and you get from a qualified facility professional, you're going to have an idea of how your HVAC system looks, how your plumbing looks, how your roof looks. Then I usually suggest, hey, that's whenever you bring in that professional. For example, if we're seeing that the roof looks in rough shape and we're learning from the church that, hey, this roof is 40 years old, your roof score is going to come out low. That's when you do want to have a roofing professional come out. I always advise to get at least 3 quotes, but those would come out then. So you would take those through and let them see your roof and give you a quote on the replacement or repair of the roof, of the HVAC, whatever asset that might be. So to sum it up, a facility condition asset is a very versatile tool that not only gives you a big picture view of the current condition of your building and its facility assets, it also gives you smaller, more detailed looks into each asset, the asset categories, and for planning purposes, when those assets are expected to reach the end of their life cycle. This is your first step in building a proper facility maintenance plan for your church. So I definitely encourage you to continue to learn more about FCA's, facility condition assessments, as I had said, and I would love to talk to you more about that if you had any questions. Once again, I'm Dustin Kirby with Foundational Facility Management Consulting, and I'd be happy to talk with you at any time, and good luck in that continuous improvement on the maintenance of your facility.